All right, Wayne Alaroot with the great Bill O'Reilly. You can always find his wisdom, by the way, at BillO'Reilly.com. And we always welcome the show on Mondays and Wednesdays, Tuesdays with talking points as well. It's a great honor to have you on board, Bill.
Thank you, Wayne.
So let's start with what has to be the biggest news over the weekend, the attack on the Saudi Arabian pipeline. It's being called a Pearl Harbor for the Saudi kingdom, and it's threatening global markets, and they're talking about oil going to $100, and the Iranian fingerprints are all over this. President Trump had a quote that we're locked and loaded, meaning he's ready to respond immediately. So what should the U.S. response actually be?
Well, you would assume that U.S. intelligence, CIA, knows where these drones originated. It doesn't seem to me that the Islamic terrorists in Yemen have the capacity to make drones. If then it is proven that the drones were made in Iran or by an Iranian proxy, then the president has to present the evidence to the world so everybody sees it. Then I would consult with our NATO allies and our Mideast allies, including Egypt and Jordan, and come to some kind of consensus about how to punish Iran. Now, you can bomb them, you can blockade them, you can up the economic sanctions, but I think that the president has to lead the world here. You don't want the USA attacking Iran, because that'll never go down. So he's got to be deliberate in this and methodical, but something has to be done.
All right, now you have Tulsi Gabbard, who's running for president, although you'd never know it. Another invisible Democrat candidate running for president with 0% in the polls. And she's ripping Trump on threats to Iran, tweeting out, this is what Tulsi Gabbard is tweeting out. She's a congresswoman from Hawaii. Trump awaits instructions from his Saudi masters, having our country act as Saudi Arabia's, and then a word that rhymes with which is not America first. What are your thoughts on your take on something like this, on Tulsi Gabbard's comments?
No, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. We, the United States, don't have any dependence on oil from Saudi Arabia anymore. So why would we be acting as their whatever? Okay? So we, the United States, are energy independent. And who would like to dismantle that? Does the Democratic Party sound familiar? So they would like to dismantle the fact that we're self-sufficient in energy through fracking, natural gas, and oil exploration. Democratic Party didn't want any of that. They want to do away with it all. So put us back in dependence. That people should understand. As for Ms. Gabbard, she is an isolationist. That's who she is. You know, you want to vote for her, vote for her.
Yeah, well, obviously not many do. She's at 0. Over the weekend, a new charge against Brett Kavanaugh, our United States Supreme Court Justice, and I think a great man. But it wasn't even a new charge. It's an old charge that was disregarded the first time it came up because the gal who's the supposed victim at Yale Law School doesn't even remember it ever happening. And the guy who's making the charges is a former official with Clinton. So the whole thing stinks to high heaven, but yet Democratic presidential contenders are all immediately saying we've got to impeach Kavanaugh, even though the New York Times printed a retraction today. What say you?
Number of things. If you don't know what the New York Times is by now, you're never going to know. So, Wayne, you can say it 100 times. I can say it 100 times. I'm tired of saying it. I'm tired of saying it. All right? So, anything, I canceled my subscription a long time ago. Anything that comes out of there, I don't believe. Even if it's true, I can't believe it because every day, it seems, they're retracting another smear story on a conservative or on President Trump. What they do. Now, how that place can continue to operate, I don't know. I really don't know. But the more important story is Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. So Harris and Warren, you'll remember, were original witch hunters in the Kavanaugh situation. They convicted him without any evidence at all on the word of one woman, and now they did it again. You haven't heard from them since the Times retracted the column. Now you haven't heard from him. But this is 2 now. So I'm saying to myself, how could any American vote for either of those 2 women when due process, if they were elected, would disappear in the country? If they think you're guilty, you're guilty. If they don't like your politics, you're guilty. They're witch hunters. All right? That's who they are. And it doesn't seem like the American public's outraged about it, but I am.
All right, last but not least, your column at BillO'Reilly.com today, you ask, do Americans support the radical left? So I guess the big question is, we all know that everyone running for president, even Biden, has gone way left. Once the general election comes around, will the nominee have to move way towards the center, and is it too late to do it?
If Biden's the nominee, he certainly will move to the center. If one of the radicals gets the nomination, which I don't believe will happen, it's impossible for them to move to the center. I mean, they're committed to deconstructing, destroying traditional America. The radical left, the socialists, are committed to it. We don't like the country. It's a racist country. We're going to redesign it, and your rights, you can forget about them. We'll seize private property. We'll, as we just discussed, deny due process. We'll do all of that. That's why it's astounding to me that millions of Americans support this. So I wrote a column on BillO'Reilly.com called The Ignorance Factor. And I used 3 examples: private property seizure, the polling about Afghanistan, and late-term abortion. And I lay out, how could anyone in America support the various far-left stands on these issues? How could anyone do it unless you really hate this country and are against human life? So I think it's a column well worth reading.
Well, I think the evidence was on display in Las Vegas over the weekend, Bill. Can anyone support these people? I don't think they do. Only the media does. Bernie Sanders came to Vegas, and he spoke Saturday morning at the exact same time as Wayne Allen Root. And I spoke in front of over 300 people on a Saturday morning at a Republican Club event who all came to see me. And the news media, the Washington Post, said Bernie Sanders had 100 at his event. And my friends tell me they were exaggerating. He had between 50 and 75. Last I checked, I'm not running for president, and I beat him 3-1 or 4-1. Does that tell you about the Democratic Party? Without the media, they got nothing.
You know, I mean,
hey, Bill O'Reilly, great to have you.
Vegas.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate it.